Checking sound. Checking sound. 1, 2, 3. No, we don't have your sound. Okay. That's okay. We can fix that. Try now.
Little Bo Peep.
Yeah, that's
Lost her
it.
sheep.
That's it. We got you.
There we go.
Cool bananas. Awesome. All right. Well, welcome. I'm RKDM. This is Rollstream. I'm wearing a hoodie today because we're playing Vampire the Masquerade, and I just thought that would be a bit silly. I'm not going bald. I do have hair. See.
It's my first question. It's like,
First
started
question.
balding.
Why is that person doing that? Yeah, it makes sense. Let's get the old microphone a bit closer so we can get right in there. So yeah, Vampire the Masquerade. Hello, E-Block. Here first. Yes, indeed you are. Yeah, so we're playing in London tonight. Jesse is playing Kinkaid. Kinkaid has recently escaped from the Circus of Shadows, namely his sire, Gideon Graves, and his tormentor, Seraphina, I want to say?
Semphira.
Semphira? There you go. See, I can remember everything clearly with crystal clarity. Right, so that's the main broke of it. There was a few interesting things that happened in our first session. And I suppose I should set this up properly and explain, hey, Lissa's here as well, woot. I've been working on your staff, Lissa. I have more to talk to you about because your character leveled up in our D&D game and we have things to talk about. But anyway, come back to that later. So Jesse started off with Kinkaid. This is a flashback. That's what's important here. This is all a flashback, and I have the very exciting task of translating Jesse's character that he has actually played before, but he's teleported him into this world. And so he gave me this very interesting brief, I guess is the term, job description, if you like, which was to DM the flashbacks for his character Kinkaid, who's joined our London 24 game. In the main, which is on not tomorrow but the next day, right? I think that's right.
My Sunday, your Monday.
Right. So in any case, do you want to take over here and tell us what happened?
Well, I mean, the long and short of it, after
Hello, E-Block.
the
Thank you for subscribing.
well, we had a lot of banter when we were out in the Circus of Shadows trying to establish characters and Gideon and Mother Knight and Semphira. I think that took a large portion of our last game was just kind of getting our feet, but underneath us and trying to understand the characters, characterization, the nose and ins and outs and so on and so forth. And until then, we kind of took off, but we didn't really do a whole lot. And other than that, there was a lot of exposition when it came out to just the travel from the Circus of Shadows to where we ended up.
Well, that was that whole McDonald's episode. Which...
I kind of skipped over that because there was vampire eating. What was it? 4 Big Macs and a side of fries.
4. I mean, you ordered everything at McDonald's. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, it was
and
the menu.
Gideon watched. There was a scene at the hotel. I recall that. So
yep.
yeah, so it was all pretty much about you escaping from the Circus of Shadows, this evil Sabbat group. When I say evil with a capital E, you know that I'm being sarcastic. I mean, am I though? Am I really? I mean, they were pretty evil, to be fair, as far as
I don't know,
conceptions of it.
Yeah, I mean, Sabbat. I mean, the evil is, evil as best as you could evil get when it comes down to anything that's either vampire or human. But Semphira kind of embodied, what the Sabbat, like traditional Sabbat, wanted to, push most of their members towards, where the Mother Knight really had a different idea of the Path of Kings, which was knowing that you were superior, but knowing that if it wasn't for the humans, well, there wouldn't be food, there wouldn't be a way for them to survive. So what's better than to have a Circus of Shadows, something that is easy to move around, all of the UK to, just under the eyes of every mortal, every human that actually, wanders in And as you were talking about before, you could just imagine, just under the bleachers, Nosferatu or wherever, or the
Mm,
pups, gnawing on people's ankles, bare ankles or whatever, right? And
right.
yeah, exactly, all that kind of thing. The Circus
Yeah.
of Shadows is all about that,
It was quite horrific. I
Um,
mean, the places you had me go last game session were not. Let's just say they weren't comfortable. But that being said, you and our other vampire players have done solos with a few of you guys now, and none of them have been comfortable.
yeah, Soto has definitely got me beating that comfort stage with the
Right.
shite that he's done, but
The difference between you and Soto, though, is that Soto does bad things, whereas you suffer through bad things, and you're kind of masochistic in that respect as well. So,
no,
you know,
I'm going to love the pain or
right,
pain.
exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, mm,
So yeah, as I said, there was a lot of exposition, from the starting out and the eating and
mm.
the inquiry of
all
what's going to happen to that food and
all the way right through to the end where you got staked.
staked. Like
Oh
I
my
even
goodness. Hello.
I talked to the other player I talked to other players about this too,
Wow.
and it's just like, well, yeah, I was a bit of a whiny bitch, and I'm like, I just literally got let go from a year and a bit of absolute fucking torture, dropped into a goddamn sewer, and said, "Sayonara."
Right.
And you expected me to be the right as rain in the perfect example of like a positive mental health? Fuck no.
No, I don't think anyone really expects that. But then there was the fact of dealing with it. It's like, how do you deal with someone in that state who's on the edge, who's ready to rip the world down, tear the world a new asshole, basically burn it all. Um, how do you deal with that person? Your character was fighting everything, so
Yep.
I had to do what I had to do in character. That's what my
Yep.
character would have done. So they did.
Yeah. Stop being a whiny bitch. Put a stake in it. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing too was, I mean, I believe I said to you, didn't I? Do you want me to roll for this, or does it just work? And I think
He.
if I recall, you elected for it working. Which was
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah, admirable, very admirable. So, okay, I see E Block here has just bought subscriptions for, I guess, one for Mad Girl Charlie by the looks of it. Wow. Given 20 gift subs. Oh my god. What the hell did I just see? What the? Are you out of your mind? I mean, I'm very grateful, but you're out of your mind. But I shouldn't say that. But thank you. Um, okay, so you've been staked.
Yes.
Kalev and Durga, because you're in the sewers, right? Where this has all occurred at the end. Kalev and Durga receive instructions from Uther. They collect up your staked, floppy, somewhat flaccid corpse and stuff you in a bag and zip it up. Do they, though? You've got a stake sticking out of the center of you. No, they make sure it's wedged in good and hard and all the way through. So it's
Right to the back. Yep.
sticking out through the back as well. It's good in there. It's not coming out. They test it, wiggle it around a little bit. Then they zip you up in this bag, and you feel yourself being carried for some time. And you're sort of swinging in the bag, and you can occasionally hear them mumbling to each other, but I suspect the pain and so on. I mean, you're not in torpor, you're just paralyzed, as far as I'm aware. That's how I'm playing it. Um, and eventually you find yourself, you feel the temperature of the air through the bag has changed, and the tone and sound and timbre of the voices of the others has changed too. So you feel that you must have, in fact, you would have felt yourself go up some stairs too. You would have felt the angle at which you're being carried, one at the front, one at the back, change as you go up some stairs, and then you hear a muffled sound of a clunking, and then you feel yourself being lowered into something, and then you get the sense of being closed in, and there's a reminds you of the sound of a boot, or should I say a trunk door. You North Americans with your trunks, we call that a boot. The car has a boot, but trunk makes more sense, to be fair. So now that you're in this trunk, you're still paralyzed. It's very dark. I don't know how you're feeling at this point.
Par for the course, honestly. uh, Staring at whatever insides I can, using what limited protein that I have to sort of look around, or not look around, but
You're talking
just,
gleam of red eyes.
yeah.
I don't
Because I
think you
don't need
can
to
use
actually
it
use,
while you're
I don't
stuck,
need to
can
use blood. I don't need to use blood.
you?
So,
Don't need to use blood for it?
no, just on.
Hmm.
But doesn't mean I don't see anything anyway. It's just the inside of a
Just
bag, so
inside of a
great.
bag, yeah, true. So,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
you feel the
I mean,
engine going.
I thought
Yeah.
I'd made some friends briefly, but obviously not.
Well, the drive goes for quite a while. I mean, if you're any good at estimating time, it feels like about the better part of an hour. And the city sounds get fewer and further between. You hear a train at one point. Ding 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 ding. Go past. You hear some traffic at various points, but it gets less and less. And then you don't hear any traffic for a long time. Not even the sound of a car going past. And the car just kind of goes along. It makes a few slow turns. And eventually, the car stops for about 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. You can, I don't know, you don't need to make a perception check. You hear the sound of a chain rattle outside, like a gate chain or something like that. And the car door opens and closes, opens and then there's the chain rattle and then it closes again. And then you're driving on loose gravel, you think. Feels like that. You can hear that the sound of the ground under the car changes, the texture and the feeling of the sensation changes to a gravelly kind of sensation. Then the car stops at the top of a hill. The trunk sound opens. And then you feel yourself being lifted up out of the back of the trunk by the head end of the bag. You know what? I lie. By the foot end of the bag. You're upside down. It's much more symbolic.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so thusly in this bag you're carried inside somewhere. You hear the sounds change again as you head inside a building. It sounds large and echoey. And then you go down some more stairs and it sounds confined. And you feel the sense that you're quite, I don't know, not necessarily that deep, but at least one or two floors. At least one floor, you're sure of that. Underground, the sounds have changed, the temperature's changed, everything's a bit different. And then finally, you get put to rest on something very solid. You think it feels like concrete or something like that.
Right.
You're left there for some time. What feels like a couple of hours. And whoever put you here is gone. They've been gone for a while. Sometime later, a couple of hours later, somebody returns. You hear the sounds of somebody coming back in again. Now, I mean, I'm glossing over all of this, but this is torturous, right? It's agony the whole time, and it's very disturbing and scary and uncomfortable. But, you know, I don't want to spend all day on it. So eventually the bag zips open, and there is this bespectacled fellow standing there in a suit leaning down over you. His hair is nicely cut. He looks like some sort of scholar. Um, and he looks down at you. He looks quite serious. He has a sort of I don't know, what's his name? Doesn't matter too much, but what's his name? The guy that played Voldemort, funnily enough, but that's not who I'm thinking of as a character. You know who I'm talking about. You know exactly.
I know
who
what
I'm
you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, that guy.
See the face, not the name.
Yeah, right. There's like, and he's one of like a bunch of brothers as well. Um, anyway, it'll come back to us. Ralph Fiennes. Thank you, Mad Girl Charlie. Indeed, Ralph Fiennes. Um, and as he unzips the bag, he looks at you and he checks your eyes to see that you're okay. He kind of, pinches your eyeballs, opens up your eyes like this to see that you're, there's pupils. He looks at you and he says, "Good evening. I know you are probably not having the most exciting time right now, I understand. I work for Uther de St. Bernard. I am his head retainer. My name is Benjamin Smith, with an E." He says, "I'm going to unstake you shortly, but I should like to warn you that whilst I may be merely a retainer, I am prepared for anything. And my domitor, Uther, is not far. He is currently engaged, and he's requested that I speak with you first. He feels that my conversation with you may assist you in your endeavours more so than himself. He fears that his tolerance and patience may run out. So, I instead have the cheerful task of talking to you and finding out what this is all about. Are you ready? Well, I guess you cannot say, so I suppose I'll just do this now. Hold your breath, whatever it is that you can do." He pulls the stake out. Then he steps back a couple of feet, and he takes out a very large handgun and points it at you. "You'll excuse me for the precautions."
So, I mean, as my body is trying to knit itself back together again, that's going to be extraordinarily fucking painful. So I think my eyes would start to gleam in and out. My hands would start convulsing and claws would come out also convulsively as well. Just trying to deal with the pain. Also, the body just trying to figure, it's like, am I under attack? Am I under attack? Do we need to kill something?
How are you doing
He's
for
also
blood right now?
6.
6 blood points. All right. So Benjamin gives you a minute to sort of compose yourself, and hopefully you do compose yourself. Do you want to make a self-control check?
Yeah, sure.
Now, if I had
Let's do
thought
that.
about this better, I would have done this slightly differently, but now I've put my foot in it, so I'm just going to let it go.
That would be no successes.
Oh dear. Okay, so you frenzy. Benjamin shoots you several times, and then he stakes you again.
All right, back in the slab.
As you go down, he's just apologizing to you quite profusely. He's like, "Look, I'm very, very sorry about this. I understand that it's not your fault. I should have thought about this more before I did this. I didn't quite consider that you might have been starving at the moment of your staking. I'll be right back. We'll do this properly. My most sincere apologies." You can make a perception and empathy check if you like.
Perception and empathy.
Yes.
So that'd be a whole 2 dice. Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent.
Whole 2 dice. Excellent. Hit me with your rhythm sticks. 1 success.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, well, with one success, you actually think Benjamin might be being kind of sincere, oddly enough. In any case, he leaves the room. You're still staked again, second time, um, back on the slab. A few minutes later, he comes back, and he has a number of jars clearly containing what appears to be blood. Um, he puts them on a table nearby from where the slab is that you woke up on. Um, and he looks down at you again. He says, "I have to say, I'm very sorry. That was quite an oversight. I do hope you'll forgive me. I'll get some more of that where it came from. So if you start to feel the pangs, you tell me, and I shall service this issue as quickly as possible, for everyone's sake. Now, take two. Are you ready?" He pulls the stake out again for the second time. You can make another self-control
Okay.
check. He
All right.
immediately flees to the door.
Fair.
Sta- he stands
I
in
will
the door
spell
with
limit
his...
power. Stands at the door with his gun pointed at me, I guess.
Oh, fuck yes.
I guess I didn't need the willpower, but I spent it anyway. Two
Oh,
successes.
nice. Okay. You manage to get a grip of yourself. You see the bottles of blood, and I don't think you can keep your eyes off them for very long, but do you have a feeding preference or anything?
Nope.
That's good. Okay. Thank Christ, because that could have made things much more complicated.
Seeing so I chowed down on a rat last session.
That's right, you did, didn't you? Yeah. That was tasty. Okay, so presumably, well, you haven't frenzied, so over to you. Benjamin's still standing there with a gun pointed at you.
I
You
kind of
okay?
look at the jars, from him to the jars, from him to the jars. I
Take it. It's
move
for
toward the
you.
jars.
Yes, good. Good, good. Don't worry, I won't watch. Well, I will watch, but I'm not judging.
Hey, just any blood that's close, he just downs it.
All right, so
It's probably
you
all
get
running down his face, and down his. Oh, wait, he's already still wearing his tattered clothes. Well, no,
right.
that's right. No, Gideon gave him his
Gideon gave you
new
some nice clothes.
clothes.
Oh dear, you fucked
Yeah.
them up too now. Oh
Yep.
dear.
Now they're
Okay, well
covered in blood.
you got another 6 blood points.
Oh, that's glorious.
There are multiple jars. They're a little bit cold, like refrigerated cold. You can tell that
I'll
they've
choke
been
upon.
they're a couple of hours old, and you can kind of taste that they're not the freshest, but that's I think for yeah, I gave you 6 blood points. I'm going to say that you drank 12 blood points worth because they're old enough that they have decayed to sort of half life. Even that's just a couple of hours, but you get 6 blood points out of the 12 that you drank. Yeah. Okay. What's so special about Benjamin? Says eBlock 07202. Well, what is special about Benjamin? He's a very old NPC, is what I can say. He's been around in my vampire games for about 25 years, I want to say. But anyway, you're not supposed to know that. Okay, so Benjamin's standing there, still got the gun out. He slowly lowers the gun now. Are you feeling a
I
little
put the
better, I hope?
last jar down and just thank you.
You're welcome. De Saint Bernard
Be
told me to keep you safe. I'm trying my best.
it looks down at his clothes.
I
Shite.
have some replacements. What size are you?
Kind of shrugs his shoulders. Looks his size.
He puts the gun right down on the table now, but not far from you. He's very trusting. He takes out a notepad from inside his jacket pocket and a pen, and he says, "Let me check. I'll write down the sizes. Let us measure them. It'll be on the inside of your jacket here."
He just pulls off his shirt. Just It's jacket.
Benjamin writes down all of your sizes from your clothes to your shoes. And he says, now, you can stay in this room for now. You're not a prisoner. If you wish to leave, you can. However, I believe my Domitor, Uther, should like to speak with you before you do leave, but he wants to be sure that you're going to be, well, shall I say, I can't think of a better term than behaved. Also, you should note that Thaddeus is on the property, and you do not wish to cross him.
Don't know who that is, but what I can say is that the last time I met Uther, I was not in a frame of mind that I shouldn't even been introduced to a dog at that point in time. I was starving. I let loose, and I do apologize.
Your apologies, I'm sure, will be accepted. I'll pass it on. In the meantime, I shall fit you out with some decent clothes, and is there anything else you might need? I can arrange for a new telephone if that's something that might be useful to you.
I don't use a telly.
You don't use a phone, a mobile, cell phone, nothing like that? Very well, that solves that problem then. Excellent. Might you need any other services? We don't have a landline here.
Where am I?
Ah, well, you're still in London, technically, within the district at least. You're at Lord Uther's estate.
Is Uther a friend of Gideon, my sire?
I don't think so. I don't know who that is.
I think it's by pure coincidence that I've found myself here.
I can't say what it is that brought you here, I'm afraid. I know that Lord Uther found you in a sewer, apparently. He was called there by some Nosferatu, I think he said. They were somewhat desperate. They were not sure what to do with you, so it seems, and so they have handed you over to him for safekeeping, I understand.
He just kind of rubs his hands together and across his pants, the blood and everything. I will say this is the best I've eaten in months.
Well, we can do better than that, but that's just a start. Do you have a preference? I can obtain something for you.
No. In fact, this is the best I've eaten, like I said, in months.
Hey, Feral Artificer, welcome. The best you've eaten in months, and it's out of a jar. Sounds like a unfortunate situation. I can't say I entirely understand, being not a vampire, but then again, I'm not human either. So,
But you know how it is to be starving all the time.
I know what it is to starve, yes, and I know what it is to not be able to obtain the vitae that sustains me. You understand? I am a retainer, but I am, shall we say, a little and somewhat seasoned. I've been in Uther's service for over 2 centuries now.
I'll let you get back to yours then.
Yes. Is there any books or anything? We do have a library upstairs. I can take you up there when I've come back with the clothes. How about that? Do you read books?
Of course I read.
Good, good. Well, we have a lot of books.
I've read a book in probably over a couple of years, but I can still read.
Excellent. Well, then, good chap. I'll be back shortly. He turns and he goes out. He takes the gun.
Good man. Good man.
Right. So you're in this room for a while, and now that you've been here for a couple of minutes, you've had a chance to sort of examine it. And I don't know how much your character knows about this sort of stuff, but out of game, it's basically it's a bunker that was built under a estate in London during World War II. So it's a World War II bunker, but it's a private one, not a military one, although it does serve many of those purposes. So that's the kind of environment that you're in presently. Um, it's quite Spartan. It's been refurbished. There is better electricity than you might have expected. There are proper lights and things. Um, there is a bookshelf with a few books on it, mostly about London. Nothing very interesting. Um, yeah.
I'd probably just wander around the room, stretching, flexing my claws, raking them across the concrete surface. Once, if I felt limber enough, I would start just doing some basic acrobatic exercises, a couple of flips and stretches and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Comfortable stuff. Comfortable.
Right.
Things that
Right.
he's used to, things that he would normally do when he was still in the
Right.
circus, waking up, doing his exercises, doing his chores, his workouts. But there's no more pups to keep in line.
No.
It's
So
very quiet.
a little while later, Benjamin comes back in again. Are you still awake? Good. This is good. You're still. He's got. Do you remember? I don't know if you did this in Canada, but in New Zealand they used to the milk car, the milk truck used to come around with trolleys, and that the milkman would carry like 6 bottles in a little metal basket, and drop it at your door.
Yep.
Well, Benjamin has one of those baskets, but it's filled with milk bottles full of blood. 6 bottles, and he puts it on the table. Um, those are for you. Monsieur de Saint Bernard has graciously offered them to you if you wish, and these too if for you. And he puts a parcel on the table. It appears to have clothes in it. He said, "These ones are, well, I figure you're actually about the same size as me, with give or take a few inches here and there. They won't fit perfectly, I suppose, but beggars cannot be choosers. I
Okay.
will still intend to get you the other clothes, but it will take a little longer."
Kinkaid would wander up after kipping up from the floor if he was still doing exercises, but
Mm-hmm.
he would actually just start to disrobe anything right in front of him, just down to his
Yep.
his knickers and
Benjamin
pull
doesn't
the other
care.
clothes on. Okay, good.
Benjamin's very totally fine with that. He doesn't even flinch, not for a moment. Um, Even if you reveal scars, I don't know. You've got scars, don't you?
Uh, Pre-embrace scars, yes. Anything obviously afterwards probably would have healed over. I don't know how the actual staking scar would carry over, but
Right.
there
Yes,
could be
that's true.
there could be a bit of a wrinkle there, a little puckering, but
Yeah, a gaping
uh,
fucking hole that goes through to your unbeating heart.
right into the spinal cord. Maybe a
Hmm.
couple aggravated gunshot. Well, like just a few
Yeah.
things. But no, I don't really
Yeah.
have any great scars or tattooing, piercings, none of that.
Okay. Cool.
Well, nothing that carried over if Samphira didn't actually keep it in. So,
Hmm. Well, that's up to you. But in any case, Benjamin doesn't really comment or give away any particular emotion about it. Um, he says, "Lord Uther will see you now, I believe. You ready?"
yes, I pop the cap off of one of the milk bottles and
Hmm?
drink it slowly.
Okay. So as not to
But
spill it all over your new clothes?
exactly.
Right.
But I drain the entire thing, cap it off, and put it back in, feeling civilized all of a sudden.
Feeling
Now that I'm not
civilized.
starving.
Right. So, Benjamin says, follow me then.
Do you have any crisps about you?
Well, you're so lucky I do, but not on me right now at this very moment. But perhaps after we've spoken with Uther, I can get you a meal if that's what you require.
Anything other than blood? I think right now I'd be grateful.
He looks at his watch. He says, look, come with me quickly to the kitchen. See what I can do. And he takes you through to this large, open plan, very oversized kitchen. It's dark. Most of the lights are off except in one little corner where there's a toaster, a microwave, and a jug and a refrigerator, all in one corner. The rest of the place just dusty, unkept, ancient. I mean, like 50 or more years have passed before since anybody's dusted a surface in this room, except for this corner. Oh look, I've frozen. Do you want to do a staring contest? I can win. Let's see if I can fix this.
Oh, but now you're twitching. That's not fair. I can't do that.
twitching on Twitch. Okay. Yay. All right, cool. So you follow him up. You get some food. I don't know what he opens the fridge. There's like half a can of baked beans. There's some cold cheese toast. There's a bowl of broccoli with some lemon pepper and salt, and a few other weird, strange things that I don't know if Kinkaid has ever eaten them, would eat them, has eaten them, wants to eat them. There's a few other things, some packets of noodles and other things lying around.
I grab the half can of baked beans and just, use my fingers if I even have to, just to get it into my mouth.
He can give you a spoon. He does have some cutlery. But yes, he says,
This is fantastic.
you are aware that you do not have to do that, aren't you?
Do what?
In jest. Not that, anyway.
Do you not like? I assume you like food? The taste of it?
Well, yes, I suppose I do, but from my understanding, and to be fair, from my experience, the taste of Vitae is considerably more sustaining.
He looks contemplative and licks the spoon, puts it back into the beans. Other than the meal that I've had tonight with that blood, that's about the best blood I've ever had. So, if you're looking for context, I don't have none. Beans, cheese toast. That's what I remember. That's what tastes good to me.
Suddenly a bird hits the window, suddenly and out of nowhere. Boom! Then it flutters off.
Does that happen often?
Not often, from time to time.
Friend of yours?
Not mine, I'm afraid. Very odd. Don't mention it to Uther. He'll go on about prophecies for days.
Fair. Well, I suppose best not keep miting then.
Would you like some cheese toast?
If you got some, yeah.
I can make some. I'm feeling a little peckish myself. May as well. Uther can wait. Won't hurt him. All he has is time. Right, so he goes about making cheese toast and asks you if you want this and that and the other thing, and makes himself a cup of tea. He's very happy to make you one too if you want.
I could deal with the copper as well, yeah.
All right. He sorts all of that out, You sit down and you have a cup of tea. He takes out a packet of cigarettes from his top jacket pocket. They're quite fancy ones. And he has a Zippo lighter. He turns around away from you when he lights it, and
Okay,
goes and
good.
stands. He stands in the corner, but well away from you, and lights the cigarette. And then he turns and leans against the wall. So, how did you get into all of this then? Sounds like it must have been quite a story.
You mean being here, or just in general?
Well, I don't really know what I mean. I'm just making conversation, but if it helps, yes, whatever you wish.
I fucked up, is what I did. Stole from the wrong
Ah,
people.
stole from the wrong people. Well, I think you'll have Uther's attention at that. He also has similar experiences. The difference being that he stole thaumaturgy from the Tremere.
I don't know what that is, but sounds important.
Do you know who the Tremere are?
I heard mention, yeah. Mother Knight's
Yes.
mentioned him.
A clan
Gideon's
of.
mentioned him.
They're a clan of warlocks. Blood magic warlocks. Thaumaturgy is their trophy discipline. The power that they utilize most efficiently. Blood magic. Uther can boil your blood at a pace of 20 meters, I think, or more. I've seen it once or twice. It's not pleasant to watch. It's the screams. In any case, the clan Tremere are not well impressed. So I suppose you have that in common. Stealing from the wrong people. There are what you might consider the wrong people.
Sounds like you got a better end of the deal.
Me?
You actually walked away with something.
Oh, you mean Uther?
Yeah.
Well, yes, he walked away with something, but he is a survivor. He lost a lot as well. He lives in exile.
Is he old?
Oh, yes.
Older than my sire, then?
Well, I don't know your sire.
I don't know many kindred. Just the ones that were at the circus.
Well, I don't know your circus, so I can't comment. But I can tell you that Uther de Saint Bernard is more than 900 years old. Close to it, at least. The man was alive during the Crusades. He was a monk in those days, as far as I understand, from what little he's told me over the years.
My sire did say that it was immortal, but I didn't know what that meant. 900
Well,
years? That just seems impossible.
well, it does seem rather impossible, doesn't it? I understand your concern there. But I myself have now sustained 200 years almost, and it has been quite an interesting time, I must admit. But I
200
tell
years
you,
and you're not even dead. You're
well,
human.
you see, I'm a vampire's ghoul. I am a retainer. I am Uther's personal and private servant. One might think I might resent such a position, but I quite like it. It gives me the opportunity to, well, you see, his vitae sustains me. As long as I drink from my dometer once a month, I will not age. So I too am immortal, in principle. And I have the benefit of being able to see the sun.
I did enjoy the sun.
Yes, well,
Our ghouls at the circus, they had a much different experience than you. Our ghouls were puppets for Samphira. For her, she changed them. Their flesh.
ah, yes.
turn them into monsters.
So the circus you speak of, Sabat then, I assume. Tzimisce.
Not all of us, no, but yeah, Sabat. That's what Mother Night was telling us. But when she said it was, we're on a different path. I don't know what that means. I don't even know any other Sabat. I don't know. She said doctrine, and I never read it, but she said I wouldn't need to. She said if I did, I might be tempted.
Well,
So instead, we're going to. She said it was called the Path of Kings. Still don't know what that means.
from what I can gather, and I don't claim to know much about the Sabbat, but from what I can gather from the context and the conversations I've heard and overheard, my understanding is that the Sabbat are a sort of a cult. Does that track from your experience?
Oh yeah, like we ran across another group of them, but I wasn't happy.
So how many
We
kindred
had
do you know?
it's just the other pups, my sire, Mother Night, and Samphira. Those are the ones I know the best.
But you do know that
Others,
you're a vampire.
yeah, I know I'm a vampire. Yeah,
I see. They didn't teach you
but
about the Camarilla, did they? Or the Anarchs?
no,
Convention of Thorns?
my sire, he did tell me about
Oh.
the Camarilla, about the Sabbat. He did give me a basic education, but other than that, we've been isolated.
So this one you're speaking of, your sire, that's the one you called Gideon Graves, is it not?
Aye,
Oh, I see. He makes a few notes in his notebook.
she mark it down there.
Yes, indeed. The sort of information that Uther may find relevant. You have to understand I work for Uther.
Well, I can give you whatever information you need if it, as long as I don't get it back there. That's it.
I shall
Like he
do
gets
my...
it, like you see a little bit of panic in his eyes, actually, like his cheesy toast that's in his right hand and the tea in his left, his one starts shaking a little, and he just kind of puts
Benjamin
it down.
gently reaches out and touches your arm. It's going to be okay. You'll be all right. Uther is not likely to hurt you.
Unlikely.
He did stake you, so there's that.
Boy, if I go back there, it's all it is pain. The
I
pain
don't
will be
think
forever.
he will make any effort at all to put you back in that situation. More likely, if you really piss him off, he's likely to stake you and put you in a wall somewhere for 100 years. But you have to really annoy him for that.
I don't know how to roleplay this, but you get the impression that he kind of takes a deep breath, and it's just like it's almost like being staked and shoved into a wall for 100 years might be a reprieve.
Right.
It's just that the only part of him that actually got really panicked was when you said, or he's mentioned that as long I'll give you whatever the fuck you want, as long as I don't end back there. That was kind of like the
Right. Fair enough.
so anyway, hard to roleplay that because it's a lot of
Inner conflict.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. So, anything else you might need from the kitchen before we go upstairs? I think Uther will be getting tense by now. Tetchy. I'll take the blame, of course.
One more thing.
Yes.
Could you blow smoke in my face?
You can have one if you want. Close your eyes and I'll light it for you. He does. Puts it in your mouth. Gently pushes it into your lips. And then he says, all right, are you ready? Keep your eyes closed. And then he gently lights the cigarette. You feel the heat of the flame on your face. And you hear the crackling of the tobacco as it burns. hard hit of nicotine at the back of your throat, but it doesn't do anything. Better, I hope.
Even just a memory.
He
just kind of flicks it.
You can chuck it in the sink if you want. I'll clean it up later.
Does like the expert flick.
The expert flick. Dunk! Straight into the sink. Hits the bowl. Very good. Okay, so he says, are you ready now? Yeah? Alright. Come on then. Just remember, Uther is, well, he has his ways. He is rarely malicious, but he is quite abrasive, especially to newcomers. I hope that helps deflect anything that might be taken personally.
I don't think I can take anything personally right now since I have no comparison. Like my only memories that I have with kindred, no, like sure I can think about back when I was a human and what I'd do if I was disrespected as a human, what I could do to them. And if I had my gang with me. Now this is completely new.
Understood. Come on,
And yeah,
let's go.
drama. Whatever that is.
He leads you up and out of the kitchen to the main level, and then takes you to this foyer. And it's very dusty and quite dark, and the lights are not on. There's like, the place is lit by lamps on stands connected to a generator somewhere. Like literally, Benjamin has lit the house from the inside using like external lights or temporary lights, just so he can
worker lights.
Worker lights, exactly. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And the place is a bomb site. And as you walk upstairs and you go into the library, you are aware that it is literally a bomb site because one half of the library is collapsed. And you look across there and you can see there's like an explosive hole in the roof, or in the library. It's come through the roof and then through the floor. And you see there's this fucking great World War II bombshell just sitting there, untouched. The library's still quite dark, but there are shafts of moonlight coming in through the high windows and through the hole in the wall. That area, by the way, is all rotten and wet and dank and quite grody. But there is one corner of the library in particular that seems to be quite dry and okay. There are some sofas up here, coffee table and that sort of thing over in one corner. There's a grand piano and a grandfather clock. The clock is ticking, literally. And as you're standing there kind of getting your wits about you, Uther steps into the room from behind one of the bookshelves. He just kind of steps out and takes a moment to look at you. And he just stares at you for a long moment.
I look at his feet.
Fair enough.
And just kind of look, kind of around him, but not actually right in his eyes, just kind of looking around.
You seem to be repaired.
Thank you for your hospitality. I don't know that I actually deserve it, but Thank you anyway.
Nobody actually deserves hospitality, you understand? It is just a tradition.
Okay.
But it is a tradition that I keep for various reasons. He steps forward. How long have you been a vampire?
Uh, what year and month is it?
Uther tells you. It's 2024, I know that much. It says so just right there.
Yeah. 2 years.
I see. And how old were you when you were embraced?
A month past my 25th.
I see. And you were taken by the Sabbat.
I was. Didn't know what I was getting into, of course.
You did not.
As I mentioned to your man, I just stole for the wrong people.
I see. That is quite a mistake to make regarding the Sabbat. Did they force you into their retie?
I tried.
When you say they tried,
It didn't take.
the retie did not take. Ah, that does explain the taste of your blood.
Kinda raises an eyebrow. The taste.
Yes. I know a few little tricks. Taste of vitae among them.
You could tell who I was just by the taste of my blood.
I can tell a lot about you from the taste of your blood. Not everything, of course. Nor do I wish to know everything. You're not that important to me. However, I find myself oddly compelled to assist you in this circumstance.
No, I'm not gonna say why, but I'll just accept it. I don't have a lot of friends at the moment, so any help I can get.
You're still looking to leave the United Kingdom at this point?
That was the plan.
Very well. I have the resources to assist you with this. I should say, however, that at some time in the future, whether it be a year from now or 100 years from now, I will call upon you for a boon.
Don't know what that is or what it entails, but I will agree to it.
I'm sure Benjamin can explain to you the nature of prestation. That's the term. Not to be confused with prestidigitation, because that's a whole different thing.
Is it like holding a bond in task for something to be taken in the future?
Yes, that's quite correct.
See,
A favour, if you will.
I mean, I don't understand everything about Kinder Society, but I know money.
Excellent. Then we have a deal. I shall get you out of the United Kingdom. Where is it that you wish to travel?
On the east coast of the new land. New York, I think is what he said.
By the way, Benjamin is standing just in the corner.
Okay.
Just quietly behind you.
I need to turn the lights on, it's getting dark here.
It's the world of darkness, Jesse. It's supposed to get dark.
Supposed to be, but I was getting to the point where all that you saw on the camera is my head.
Right.
Or
Yeah, I'm
head.
taking the wild step of using a background tonight just for the fun of it. I don't know what people think, but is it better or
I don't
worse than
know,
my
man.
normal background?
You're going a little crazy there with the background. No, it's good. I like the background.
Why can't we all just get along?
Get along.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. New York, you say?
That was a
Hmm.
plan. Uh, Sire, he's got some contacts out there,
You
and
trust your
from there,
sire at this
it's
point? You admitted that your sire was Sabat. Why would you trust them?
he's the one that got me out.
I see. Interesting. What grander plan do you think he has then?
He didn't tell me. He just said to go, don't come back.
Let me suggest
But
to you that his motives are not entirely pure then. It might not have occurred to you at this point. But he is most likely looking 5 steps ahead of the game. You see, he expects you to travel to the new world by the sounds of things. And then, after some time, he will call upon you, and you will come with the cavalry to save him.
I I can't say that I blame him for anything. Uh, I did steal from them,
Hmm.
and I see what you're saying. And
You stole from him, you
you can,
say, but I say property is theft.
I didn't just steal from him.
Oh,
I stole from her,
by her you speak of the other
the
Sabat.
mother.
The mother.
I stole from the mother.
The mother. Tell me more about this mother.
She was a Nosferatu, if that's the term. A Nosferatu, yeah.
Indeed, that is the term.
She said she was Sabat, but she was looking for a new way.
I
But
see.
I don't know what that means, a new way. And when I ask questions about what are you doing now? What's the old way? Maybe I can make my own decisions about this. No, I was punished for that. I was thrown in the rack. Samphira had some hot pokers.
Have you
I learned
considered
quite quickly not to ask too many questions.
have you considered asking the Camarilla for, well, their hospitality?
Well, if anything is to be believed, they said to me that the Camarillos, it was worse than them. Well, then I said if I couldn't take the pain, then I couldn't actually survive what was to come. And she said if I was to go around the Camarilla, that I would suffer even greater pain.
The Camarilla has many flaws, blindness being one of them, denial being another. But nonetheless, they would protect you. They wouldn't do it for nothing, of course. You would find yourself as equally as enmeshed in a web of lies and deceit and favours from the Camarilla as you would from anyone. But there would be considerably less torture involved. At least physical torture. They tend to
I'm uh,
either look after you or kill you.
at this point, I don't know who to believe. I mean, you've been as close to friends that I've had in many years, so I'm inclined to believe you. You fed me. You've clothed me. You've brought me in. This, and I'm clean.
Well, you see, my gangrel friend, we share a bloodline.
Kind of glances down at his hands and does the same flex and pulls them back in again. The only other gangrels that I knew were the pups, and many of them didn't survive.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I've seen it, but I've not lived it. But I have witnessed some terrible things. And I can't say I envy any of those souls. It's a terrible and brutal thing, time. You see so many things that affect you. You have to be very careful to preserve what humanity you have. It's all you have. I heard you speak of paths to my manservant, Benjamin.
I did.
I am aware of these paths, perhaps more than you know. However, at this point in your career, I would suggest you choose to embrace your humanity. But what would I know?
By humanity, I know what the term means, but in the context of being us, like, what is that? I mean, I still crave food. I still want to fag every once in a while. It is that as close as I can actually get to humanity? Can I not be human?
You cannot be human, no. But there is no harm in your predilections towards these activities, feeding and smoking and pretending to be human. But you should never forget that you are not human. There is only one thing that will fulfill your cravings. Move the steps closer again. You are a monster, a beast, a vampire. You feed on blood, mortal blood, humans. You take their lives with impunity. You try not to. You resist it at all costs, but at the end of the night, that is what you must have to survive. And you must live with that for eternity. Are you prepared for that?
I'm prepared to do what I must. I'm done being a whipping boy. Done doing they kill me.
Good.
What they did to me.
Tell me.
The only thing I can do right now is just fight. Run and fight.
Would you like to take revenge upon them?
Of course I'd like to take bloody revenge.
Well,
But what do I have? I got nothing.
be patient.
And I'm
then, my
getting kicked off the
child.
bloody rock then.
Be patient, my child. I can assist you with this. But it will take some time, and your little foray to the new world will not hurt at all. In this way, we shall spring a trap. In this way, we shall give them what they want. But there shall be a surprise. With the smiles.
I hear what you're saying.
You understand,
I'm
then?
not fit to challenge a rat right now. let
Not right
alone
now. You must recover from your wounds, mental, emotional, physical wounds. There are many, I see. And when you are done, you will return to London, and we shall see about that revenge. While you are in the New World, you will practice and train, and you will become stronger. When you are done with your revenge, we shall see how you stand, and if you stand well, there may be further opportunities for kindred such as you. But
don't
that
know
can
how long
all,
it'll take. But if the
well,
circus does still survive when I get back, when I'm called back, if there are any pups left, I'd like to save them too.
well, you are a vampire now. You will not die. All you have is time.
So what's the next step?
Well, the next step for you, my child, is a passport and some documents, which Benjamin shall arrange for you. Will you not, Benjamin? Yes, my lord, of course, yes. Passports, presentation, papers, all of those sorts of things, of course. Whatever's required. Thank you, Benjamin. Good.
So this is the birth of Arthur Crane.
This is the birth of Arthur Crane.
Alternate identity. Background. So
Right.
it's perfect.
Excellent. So, do you have any questions?
Yes, no. There's so many,
Well,
but I don't know what's relevant. I mean, I've
I
learned
have.
more in the past day than I have the past 2 years,
That must be
it
very
seems.
painful. That must be difficult. And you must be craving live prey by now.
I've never had. I've smelled it, but I've never had it. So, what does the craving feel like?
The craving. You've never had the craving? What do you mean you've never had it?
They feed us on old blood. They keep us starving. I could feel the humans, the mortals walking around us. I could smell them. But
Well,
the feelings that I got, what if it was a hunger, I don't know. They never said anything. What was it I was supposed to feel? Was it feel like when I actually do embrace? I have no idea.
we're going to have to make sure that you're ready for the world, it seems. Sometimes I wish I had had a child. Then they could have dealt with this.
No, Kinkaid actually does laugh. Me, ma used to say that having me was like having a pack. I was an only child, and you same thing. It's like if I could hire a nanny, I'd do it right now. You ungrateful shite. But I love my ma, and I miss her. But I understand what you're saying.
Is she alive
She was.
when you left?
Aye. I have no idea if they're still alive now.
And you've not said goodbye.
No. My pa works the steel mills. My ma does odd jobs. She can. Housework, cleaning.
Perhaps you should visit them before you go. I don't typically recommend such a thing, but in your case it might be some level of catharsis that you may require. You need to get your head straight.
You mean actually talk to them then?
Vancouver by night! Congratulations, yay!
I don't know
To
if I could
them.
actually talk to them. Like, me now is the way I am.
When I
I wouldn't
returned
understand.
from Acre and Jerusalem, I was a vampire. My sire embraced me in the desert. I crawled into a cave in a canyon. I believe the year was 1234 or something to that close proximity. When I found my way back to England via various other places along the route. What am I talking about? My sire? But no, I wasn't embraced in fucking Acre at all. What am I talking about? I'm so sorry. Getting confused between NPCs. He was embraced in Norway, in Balderheim. So, quick edit.
I know exactly where that is. That's where I want to. If I were ever to move to Norway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boulder.
It's funny because I made that name up, and
It's an
turns out
actual fucking
it's an
place.
actual place. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
It sounded like an actual place. That's why
Yeah.
I made it up. But when you just put Heim on the end of a god's name, it's bound to be a place, right? There's probably
It's
something
actually one
called
of
Odenheim too. Right? Of course.
one of the biggest port cities in just in the northern part or middle part of Norway.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. That get me sidetracked talking about Norwegians. I used to know a lot of Norwegians. Anyway, okay. I've forgotten what I was going to say now. Let me find it again. When I returned from the Crusades, I sought out my family line, my lineage, my father. He was a bastard, literally and metaphorically, in every way. He discouraged me from my pursuit of my own interests, forced me into the clergy. It was against my will, but I soon found that I had talent for this. So I went back and I visited him. He did not last long. I didn't kill him. But he was so surprised at my newfound confidence. It changed him. And I think he was finally afraid. He no longer saw the weakling son. But in any case, I can't be sure how this relates to your life and your story. Forgive me. I speak too much.
well, every time you speak, I learn something, relevant or not. But if we're talking about me going to see my mom and pa, and me the way I am now, it might be too hard for them.
You could observe
Especially if I
them
need to
from a
leave.
distance. You can always observe them from a distance, if that helps. I am reminded of a companion I once knew, a vampire by the name of Maya. He, oddly, this is the character I was thinking of before, but got mixed up with. He also returned from the Crusades. He was a kindred. His master bid him to slay his family, the whole line. He sought only to help them and refused. The master slew them on his behalf, and he found them all dead when he went to free them. He was, of course, upset and resentful for a long, long time. But eventually he came to understand that his master's actions had served him more than he could have realized. Again, I cannot claim to say how this relates to you. Merely observations from the past. Observations held over grand periods of time.
I remember when I was a child, if you're talking about parents, watching them from afar, I used to climb trees. I'd sit in the top branches, ma and pa shouting at me to come down and break a neck. Saying, I'm gonna be up here, I'm fine. Like the breeze. And then they would wander away and they go and they would play amongst the friends, frisbee, football. And I'd sit up on the boughs of the trees and I'd just watch them. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they did to me or why I changed so much. But I forgot them. Then there was nothing else but just me, the streets, making the money, my gangs. I think I hurt them pretty badly. So with me leaving, I think it may have been best.
Were they well off?
No. I was a sickly child, and they spent a fortune.
Perhaps they could win the lottery.
If I could give them something, it would be a nest egg. Something to take them up into their golden years.
Acts of service I have found have assisted me in my maintenance of the path of humanity. You might say my involvement with you has some association to this cause.
Well, I appreciate everything you're doing and what you could do for me.
That is well. I grow restless. I think it is time for me to perhaps leave the estate for some time. Take the house for a few weeks. I will return in the near future. Then you should be ready to go. 3 weeks. I shall leave Benjamin here in care of the estate. He will assist you in whatever ways that you require. Benjamin, you shall assist this fellow in whatever ways he asks, given that they are reasonable and do not breach our traditions and our codes. You will explain this to him. Yes, my lord, of course. Excellent. Then I suppose Kinkaid for now, unless you have anything pointed you wish to ask. Then I feel we are done. Good night. Uther
Good night.
leaves. He goes behind the bookshelves and you hear the sound of a door close. Benjamin looks around for a minute, standing there in the moonlight in this dusty, busted up library. I guess that was that then.
Went a lot better than last time.
Yes, I
Taps his
have to say,
chest.
that did go a lot better than last time. Do you care for another drink then?
Could do something a little bit stiffer.
You don't drink whiskey, do you? I have some whiskey and gin.
Single malt all the way.
Let's go. He takes you back down to the kitchen, where he reveals his collection of drinks, and possibly I suspect Benjamin makes certain alcohols too. Probably quite experimental ones, but he's had a lot of time to perfect them, so he's probably got it quite right by now. He's a bit of a connoisseur, I suspect. So
A little bit of absinthe, perhaps.
maybe a bit of absinthe. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Puts the sugar over the thing and gently pours it through the thing. And half an hour later, of course, because it takes forever to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good though. Wormwood.
Yes, Wormwood. So it sounds like Master Uther's leaving our company for some time. You're going to be stuck with me. That's assuming you're going to stick around at all.
Don't have anywhere else to go. It's the best place I've lived in a very long time. I'll take you up on that offer. I'll take him up on that offer.
You should be fairly safe here. We rarely get visitors. We have no utilities, so there's no random inspections or anything like that. We're very much off the grid here.
Do you have one question though?
What's that?
Uther,
Yes.
he was a gangrel like me.
Yes.
Then the Nosferatu that found me in the sewers, what relation do they have with Uther?
Well, I honestly couldn't answer that question. That's not in my purview. I could take an educated guess if you wanted me to.
Throw it out there. Never won nothing, he didn't take a guess.
Well, after all, Uther is a mastermind and genius. He may well have tied them all into boons years ago. That's one possibility. They may owe him something, or maybe they merely know that he is... if they knew that you were Gangrel, they may have passed you on to him based on that fact alone.
Well, I don't think they knew much of anything. I didn't really know much of anything at that point in time, distressed as I was.
Yeah. It is curious. One would think they would hand you over to their superior within their own clan. That is interesting.
Who would that be?
I couldn't tell you. I know enough about kindred to know the rules, but I can't say I know who's who.
You didn't get invited to the parties then, I take it?
While you'll be having parties, I'll be putting up black polythene on the windows.
Fair enough, yeah. We had one of you in our gang. His name was Marcus.
I see.
But we called him Shrimp. We called him Shrimp. For obvious reasons.
Because he was quite small, or because his penis looked like a shrimp?
No, he's a gigantic man.
Ah, like
Little
John.
We thought it was funny.
That is quite remarkable and hilarious, yes. I understand.
Was, taking a piss with his name is one of the things we do.
Of course.
But yeah, we had one of you in our gang. He went around and he cleaned up after our shite, like literal sometimes.
I expect so. It's not unusual. But you must understand that at my age, at least, I have seen most everything. I've cleaned up more shit than you've shat.
I know I can shit quite a bit.
Have some more of this, old man. So,
Cheers.
do you have any particular talents, hobbies, or skills I should know about?
Quite good at getting out of scrapes. I haven't really
Well,
used my disciplines. That notwithstanding, that's a little different. I didn't really have anywhere to go, or
what's this
even know where
about
I
your?
was half the time.
What's this about your disciplines?
Haven't used them much.
You're saying you don't know how, or you haven't had a
Just
chance?
haven't really
Both.
had a chance to use them. I used them in the circus. They would, as my sire explained, I could obfuscate. I could move really fast, and the eyes glow thing and the claws weren't really useful, but everything else was great.
So it
Uh,
sounds to me like you have learned Protean, the Gangrel trophy discipline. Ah,
that's what it is. Yeah,
yes. Good.
he says that it was something that he said it was kind of the key. It was like, as he said, like the linchpin. It was the very cornerstone of what actually made us gangrel. Everything else was not really us. It was something that we were indoctrinated to.
Social accretions.
Yeah,
Indoctrination, yes. That makes a lot of sense. Another cigarette?
other than that, I think I'll pass. Stick with a whiskey.
Yes, wise idea. We don't want to take too many risks. Eh? Wouldn't want to have to stake you again. 3 times in one night. Wouldn't that be a record, eh?
Uh, let's go for fourth.
Rather not, if I can avoid it.
Our
Otherwise,
old
I'll
man.
have to rig up some kind of device upon you that I can remotely control. Click! And stakes you automatically. Would be genius. Don't worry,
Well,
I
we could
have
take a
no
bet
such.
then.
A bet on whether I have to stake you.
Yeah.
I bet that I
We'll
do
play
not need to stake you. That's my bet. I'm sticking to it.
then we'll do shots then.
Well, I say this because I know I can win this bet, because the next time that you frenzy, I'll simply put you down. That avoids the whole problem, you see, and then I win the bet.
So boring.
Ah, well, life goes on.
Other talents, good at acrobatics, always have been. Getting small places, balancing on things, knocking tight ropes. Good at finances. It's one of the reasons I was leading the gang. None of those Dukes actually knew how to do 2+2, let alone know how to actually invest anything, where to go, who to find, what what the nip.
There is a small village near here. If you get hungry, or you just want to go out, you'll have to behave yourself, though. Sorry
I think I
about
can
that.
handle that.
Yeah. Well, just sing out. I suppose you're going to need a phone, but then I'm running low on burners. I've only got 6 left. I can give
It's
you
been a
one.
while since I've used one anyway. But yeah, if it means getting caught tongue tied, if I
Use it.
blow something.
Just use the phone judiciously. Eh? He goes into one of the cupboards in one of those dusty drawers in the kitchen that I was telling you about. and digs around for a minute. Ah, here we go. Need to charge it up and blah blah blah. He does that, sets it up, gets it charging. And I suppose you're going to need money too. I found some money on you. It wasn't much. Oh, out of game, was it? No, you had a heap of money on you, didn't you?
Yep,
Saying,
a heap of money and a small pocketbook that had numbers to a safety deposit box as well, and to a escrow account.
Right. So you found all of those things in your room.
Okay.
Where you woke up. Yeah.
No, I'm okay for money. It seems
Good.
now it's just me figuring out me alone.
Difficult. You're not entirely alone.
The prospect isn't that terrible though. I wasn't a tent with all the other pups for so long. There were so many. The smells, the sounds, the screaming.
Cheerful.
Be nice to get away from that.
Yes, I can only imagine it would be. And you are away from that. Can I leave you here for a few minutes? I need to, nature calls. Human.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Go, do your thing. I've got the bottle, I've got the
You'll
glass.
be right. I'll be back.
Yeah.
He walks off, leaves the room. You're in this massive kitchen by yourself. There's just a small lamp, like an electric lamp, sitting on one of the tables. And you're sitting there drinking ineffectually.
The feeling's nice though.
Can you make a perception alertness check?
Perception and alertness. Go. 2.
2. Well, he's sitting there alone in the dusty light coming in through the side windows from the outside of this mansion. This Victorian, probably not even Victorian, older than that. We're talking Downton Abbey, but bombed. You look up and you see there is this fucking enormous wolf standing in the doorway to the kitchen. It's like at least as tall as you are, and it's not rearing up or anything. It's just walking. It's stopped, actually. It's just standing there still. One of its ears flicks. Steps into
Bernard.
the room. Gingerly, it steps into the room. It sort of pads a couple of steps forward and looks at you.
Do you want steak? Think there might be something in the fridge? Just let me go and get it. And gingerly go over the fridge and pull it open and look like I'm sure there's probably something in there meaty.
As you're going to open the fridge, he pounces across the room, skates across the floor because the floor is quite dusty and slick. Grabs your arm in his teeth, flings you at the wall.
I immediately flip on celerity just so I can slow my motion down mid-flight to make sure that I'm not gonna flatten myself against the wall.
Can you make a Dex and Athletics check, please?
I can do that. One success. All that dice. Only one success. God, that's disgusting.
Ooh, that's disgusting. Okay, I mean, more or less successful. Heading towards the not very glamorous, but still, functional but not glamorous.
Yeah, it is on pancake. I think
Right. Um, and then this wolf turns and starts padding towards you.
move with celerity around the room, looking for some sort of weapon, and then obfuscate once I hit a shadow.
As you go to move around, the wolf uses celerity and
Well, shit.
gets itself in front of you. And you hear somebody in the doorway. Thaddeus! It's Benjamin's voice. Thaddeus! The wolf stops and looks over its shoulder briefly at Benjamin. Thaddeus? It's all right. He's a friend. Thaddeus. Benjamin walks into the room very gingerly. Much more gingerly than the wolf did. This is Uther's sire, Thaddeus. He likes to visit from time to time. You'll find he does not tend to use his human form much these days. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I've never seen it in all my time. Uther tells me he has reverted to some sort of bestial form, chosen not to mingle with us any longer, prefers it this way.
The claws retract.
The wolf pulls back away from you, and then it,
Are you telling me that this is older than 900 years?
as Thaddeus walks past you now, he flicks his tail in your face, and you get a mouthful of fur.
Point taken.
The dog walks off. As it gets to the corner, no, he doesn't do that. He was going to pee on the wall, but no, I decided not to do that. He's a gangrel. He doesn't pee. He doesn't need to pee. If it was you, I mean, you would, because you actually are going around eating food and shit, so...
Yeah.
Drinking whiskey. Anyway, I think that's what confused Thaddeus, was your smells.
Oh, fair. Yeah. He's eating, he's drinking, he's doing human things.
Looks like prey to me.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thaddeus walks out and leaves. And Benjamin takes a big sigh of relief. Well, I'm sorry about that. Didn't expect that to happen. But I'm glad
Does it
you
happen
two have-
often?
From time to time. Just beware, Thaddeus has free reign of this place.
Well, if he's older than 900 years, I'd fucking hope so.
I suspect he's
Like-
quite a bit older than that, but I couldn't be sure. Never spoken to him myself. Not at least in anything but, well, his language. My feeble attempts at it, anyway.
Growls, grunts,
Yes,
flicks of tails. Yeah.
yes.
Looks very much like a wolf then. Yeah. No human.
My opinion, he is more wolf than any sort of man or vampire at this point. I think he's spent so long in that form, he's forgotten what it means to be anything else.
And I'm supposed to be staying here with him for the next 3 weeks?
Oh, he won't hurt you. You two are practically friends now.
I'll take your word for it.
I'm just reading the chat here. I'm trying to get my head around this. I wish I was a dog. What? E-block, what are you saying? You play a Nos Huki's Mitzi Powers.
Yeah, Ray.
Ray, right. change yourself like you did your dogter? Dogter. I
Daughter,
see.
I think is what it is.
I think it was intentional, I suspect, at the dogter, yeah. But not Doctor Who. Anyway, that wasn't even slightly funny.
No.
Shut up, Jesse.
It was good. It was good. It was fine.
Hold it together. Okay. So, anyway, Thaddeus is gone. You and Benjamin are left there alone. Right, so I shall organise some things with you. We're going to need some pictures. You're going to need to fill in some forms. Do you have any old passports or identification?
I got nothing from my previous life. Not a
You've
fucking
got
thing.
nothing. Well, that's going to make things difficult. Oh well. I know.
Just give me a new name.
Yes, I expect we will. We have a system for this sort of thing, you know. I have a man who does these things. A friend of a friend, if you know what I mean. I know someone who knows a guy.
I know it very well.
Yes, I
You can't
suspect you
exist.
probably were that guy for some of those types of tasks.
Nothing you can actually pin me for. I'm not talking.
Yeah, you look like the sort that might throw bricks at windows.
I don't throw bricks at windows. I
I
pay
see.
people to throw bricks at windows. See,
Excellent. Speak my
there's
language
this
then.
thing about the people that want. If I've got the money, if I've got the tasks, if I've got the ideas, I'm not going to be the one going around and actually fucking doing it.
Hmm.
But there are certain things that I can do that others can't. So that's where I came in.
Yes.
Make the books, bled the
You see.
books, cook the books.
Seems like you're uniquely positioned for your role in kindred society then.
I hope so.
Yes. I see no reason why not. We'll get you your identification. We'll get you some new clothes. Should we go down to the village? It might be a little late for that, but we could do it on the morrow.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Yes.
It's been a long while since I've actually been about.
Besides, you can barely walk from the look of it.
Barely walk.
Look at you.
Oh,
Limping around, bullet wounds, your guts hanging out. It's disgusting.
it's fine. It'll heal.
Yeah, it will heal eventually.
I've had worse wounds than this.
I hate to think.
Well, you wouldn't have to think. I could tell you.
Well, you'd rather you not. That's fine. You can. Too much information now.
You're a good man, Benjamin. You're a good man.
Now listen, I can call up someone to come over for you, perhaps, depending on what you're looking for. From time to time, I have assisted with as I like to think of the term as patrons, by, calling in some ladies of the night or other sorts of disreputable persons who may not be so missed if they were to go missing, and then I have been able to return them by morning to their places that they go. If there
Do you
was
have
to be-
anybody that wouldn't mind me taking a nibble?
Wouldn't mind taking a nibble. Well, I don't know if I have anyone that wouldn't mind exactly, but I could probably arrange.
But you see, you got connections to the ladies of the night, but yet you don't have anybody that maybe one of us that wouldn't mind, or maybe likes it a bit.
Master de Saint Bernard, you see, is not so inclined to be concerned about these sorts of issues. For him, it's just functionary. I'm sure we could find someone. Let me think.
I know what you mean by functionary, but I'm not there yet. Obviously, it
No,
hasn't
it's
been
all
that long.
very confusing, isn't it? With the talks about humanity, but then he, well, as I say, functionary.
And I guess you're not the one to ask, but will I ever get over it?
Over
Me
what?
being this human, eating, drinking, smoking, lusting.
Ah, yes, well, I can't say I have ever encountered a kindred in your predicament before in my life. So, I don't know if you'll get over it, unless it is purely pathological, mental, then perhaps you can abuse yourself of it. It would be a useful thing to do, I must admit. As a kindred, it is, well, other kindred will not see it as dignified. At least not within the Camarilla. Now, I'm not saying that it is or it is not dignified. I personally do not care. It's of none of my concern. But I can tell you that the kindred of the Camarilla and the vampires that I have met will take any opportunity they can to, well, utilize your flaws, perceived or otherwise, for the gain of status. That is their game.
And that's pretty much what I've heard. Like, Cambria is just a bunch of gluttons just looking for and vying for a position, shoving everybody that they can, taking advantage when they can. Like,
Yes, yes.
how are they any different than the Sabbats
Well, you
who
see,
meet you
they don't beat you
head on?
or tie you up or keep you in a cage. I mean, sometimes they do. Let's be fair, but it's less common. They do at least pretend to have humanity, and that's something, isn't it?
Pretending, pretending to care, or just pretending to be human. Humanity isn't just about
Ah, yes, they
eating
don't
and drinking.
pretend to be human, not from what I can tell. But they do seem to be quite caught up with their notions of humanity and their beliefs that they are the superior faction among kindred. They speak of the Sabbat like it was a children's tale. I must admit, my own knowledge of the Sabbat is very limited to the few interactions that I have had the unpleasant and unfortunate fate to have been dragged into. None of those situations were, shall we say, treasured memories.
You say fairy tales? Like they think about the Sabbat as being nothing but just a fairy tale. Just reminds me of Grimm's fairy tales, the cautionary tales. And I
Yes,
think that's what this is. It's a
yes,
cautionary tale.
perhaps.
Hansel and Gretel going out in the forest. I was looking for something shiny and I found it. I got fucked for it.
Well, it sounds to me like you stepped into someone's domain and you got what was coming to you. But now you know better, and you have a second chance, a shot, if you will, at redemption.
Well, yeah, at least I didn't get stuffed like a pig and eaten. Well, most of me didn't get eaten anyway. It grew back. It's fine.
That sounds positively awful. I'm so sorry for you.
I didn't know any better.
Hmm. All of these things leave scars.
Sure they will. I'm sure I'm going to be revisiting this over the years, and hopefully I'll put enough years behind me that it
Yes.
too just becomes a fairy tale, even in my own mind.
There'll come a time when these things are distant memories that you will be able to draw strength from.
What about you, Ben? Are you fine being who you are? Do you
Oh
not
yes.
want to be
No.
kindred like one of us?
Oh God, no. Imagine. I suppose you can imagine. Kindred. So much fussing about. All this concern about status and traditions and all of that nonsense. No, 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 thank you. I'd much rather have 18 hours of my day to myself. You see, I only need to sleep for 4 hours. I have so much more time. I'm both immortal and I have my daylight hours. Think about how much research I'm able to get done.
Research. You're a
Yes,
scholar. Learned
not.
man.
Well, it could be said.
See, well, I didn't actually go to school and actually finish it. I'm not as fucking dumb as people think I am. It's been a big underestimating thing of most people. I don't get it. I get it.
What
What do you
school did you
study?
go to?
He just bleeds off some secondary school out in Yorkshire.
Right. Well, you could consider finishing your studies. They have night school now. And there's the internet.
Wait, you're actually being serious? I thought you were actually pulling a joke, taking a piss.
Not taking the piss, no.
It's night school. Uh, I'll think about it. I've
I see
probably
that.
missed a few things.
Probably. Is there anything you need help with catching up?
I'll I'll need a computer at least.
I can recommend.
Access.
Yes.
I'll need accounts. I'll need access to my escrow. I'll need access to Swift so I can actually start building offshore, diversing the funds, and if I can, it starts like blithering off a bunch of financial gibbery
Right.
garbage and
Benjamin tries to keep up with it. He understands 2/3 of it, but probably not. Definitely not all of it.
fuck, I don't understand half of it, and I built the character.
Mm-mm. Right.
It's one area of knowledge I've never really dove into is finances. I'm actually starting to get into it, investments and portfolios and
Hmm.
escrow and Swift and all that kind of shit. But
Right.
why? Because why? I don't need to sleep.
No. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I think
So,
that's yeah. Do you want to continue or put a pin in it? We're hitting our 2 hour mark.
all
I don't
right.
know if there's any much more that we can actually do tonight. Um, if we're looking at a 3 week turnaround before he gets punted off the rock, because
Yeah.
really everything kind of resets after he gets the
Right.
boot
Right. So, I mean,
and he
out of
comes
game
back.
at this point. I mean, you can go however you want with this. If you want to do another session, we can do that. Or if you want to do just say, okay, that's that. You stayed with Benjamin at Uther's place for a few weeks, then you went to New York or wherever you went. Um, I don't mind either way.
Okay, I think this would be a good spot to kind of put the pin in it, and then the next one kind of wanted to be able to do a wrap like a loop,
Yep.
close the loop on the Nosferatu, close the loop on Uther, close the loop on that
Yep.
as in the 2024, because when he left it was 1986
So
or something like that.
I made a note that I wanted to run past you before I actually integrated it because I didn't want to. I thought it was a good idea, but then I thought, well, Jesse might hate this, so I'm going to ask him, and it is a spoiler, um, but I have to ask you. So, um, it occurred to me that there's a fair chance that Uther knows Mother Night.
It is very possible, honestly. Um, I don't know exactly where Uther fits in the whole scheme of things, but based on how you've actually roleplayed him, his age, his proclivities,
Hmm.
I think if he didn't know her directly, he knew of her.
Well, the notes that I wrote, and again, this is all up for negotiation, but what I wrote was that he met her after or at the convention of thorns. Um, and there were three of them that were friends. There's somebody else too, but I am not going to include them because you don't know them at this point. But there were three of them that were friends at the convention of thorns. One of them became Sabat, that was Mother Night. One of them went Camarilla, and Uther became a kind of outlier anarch, but an anarch in a more true sense rather than more of a bourgeois sense actually. But he's a gangrel. He's a
Like a true
gangrel
Bruja?
with, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's got thaumaturgy, he's got
Hmm.
bourgeois sensibilities, and he's a gangrel that lives in a mansion that's dilapidated. So he's a bit of a strange
And
one.
doesn't want to have anything to do with the Incarnu.
I say nothing.
Oh, I thought I might get you to slip up there.
No, no.
Yeah, that actually sounds really good. I like that. I haven't really thought about Mother Night that far back, but that sounds really good.
What I was gonna do was a scene where she turns up at his house, but I wasn't sure if that was appropriate, and that's what I wanted to cover with you first because I thought she could basically endorse your leaving and say, I'm glad you found that, a way out. I'm gonna do my own shit for a while, so when you come back, think about it.
Yep, and that's correct based on what I told you about what she did when she found like she couldn't fight Samphira at that point in time. It
Right,
was like, fuck it, you take the Circuits of Shadows then.
right,
Everything that I wanted to make of it, you have now corrupted.
right.
And that's when I sent you all those documents about the cult of Bacchus.
Yep, yep.
Um,
Well, that's
so I
the
took
other thing is that shit plays directly into Uther's interests as well. So I thought, well, there's another major
well,
connection
that's
between them.
perfect.
So yeah, if
Yeah.
that's cool with you, then that will tie that
Yep,
whole couple of threads together. Um,
perfect. Love it.
awesome.
Make it so, number one.
Very well. Okay, well, I'm probably going to hit the hay shortly. Um, man, I've been up since 1 a.m. this morning. It's now 5:30 in the afternoon. Slowly my days will reset. So we're going to go and raid somebody. I guess that's the thing that we do. So, ooh.
Yes.
So thank you people for watching. Going to be there for London VTM on Monday. Yes, most certainly. Hell or high water, I will be there. Create a dashboard. Promise? Yes, I promise. I promise. I promise. Unless I'm dead, and that's possible. It's happened before. It's been known to happen.
Apparently,
Um,
Kinkaid's not the only one who's been staked. So
who else has been staked? Even if I'm
well,
dead.
even if you're dead,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll just get someone to prop me up in the chair, and I'll be like,
Be like the Weekend at Bernie's in.
yeah. Fuck,
If you've
those were
ever seen that
terrible
movie.
movies. I have seen those movies. They were fucking
Yeah,
god awful.
they were, but
Yeah. Who are we gonna raid? Who are you gonna raid? D&D, Captain Robert. Let's look for some. Let's look for some vampire
God,
players.
does
Come on.
Robar ever fucking sleep? That man
Yeah.
is a
Oh,
machine.
yeah. But half of his streams are reruns.
Oh, reruns, yeah.
So I
Or
used to do
yeah, the
reruns. I haven't done
pre-recordings.
a rerun in a
Yeah.
long time. I'm too lazy. I should do it. But then again, people start watching reruns and they start talking to each other, and then they're like, "Oh, wait a minute! Oh, this is a rerun. Fuck." But
I've been guilty of
anyway,
that once before.
yeah, we're rating Ashland episode 11, season 8 finale of the Lost Tribes gaming stream. They're playing Vampire the Masquerade, and we're hitting them up now. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, do the things, click the buttons, go and check out the Discord, the YouTube, all that fun stuff. And we'll be back soon enough. I believe we are playing tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow, Chicago by night. Dun dun dun. See you later.
So yeah.